Better D's production. We're back, and today we're gonna talk about Blue Valentine. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, the best rom com, unironically. And this video is part of the series where I look at a movie that I love and I take something that, as a screenwriter, I can use in my own projects. So before we start, I'm gonna speak about why this is the best rom com of all time, and that is because it's a realistic look at love and the reality that not all relationships have a happy ending. And I think this is the best depiction of that. Where another movie, for example, Marriage Story, is kind of the same idea where it's a couple going through a very hard divorce. But for that movie, it was just so boring. It felt so mundane. The direction felt, I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan, and did very well, like in the Oscars, and it was just really highly touted. Where this is a more underrated movie, and I think it does it everything that movie tried to achieve way better. So now let's move on to Blue Valentine, starring Ryan Gosling as Dean and Michelle Williams as Sydney, is a movie that is described perfectly in its title: an ill-fated romance. The juxtaposition of the word highlights the journey that is awaiting us in this film. Now, as a screenwriter, there are many things I can take away from this movie that is expertly executed here, such as the dialogue, characterization, and the structure of the story. This beautifully woven tale is crafted so we experience simultaneously the beginning and the end of a relationship. But that's not what I want to focus on today. The one lesson as a screenwriter that I would take from this movie is the inclusion and the use of music that gives extra layers to this movie. Other movies have done this before, such as 500 Days of Summer, Fight Club, and even Shrek. We all remember, Hey Now, You're a Rock Star. One of my first experiences and personal favorites is Blue Valentine's use of You and Me by Penny and the Quarters. Hey, hey, hey. Inherently, we give music a lot of meaning to our lives, as there's specific songs that can remind us of specific moments, people, or emotions. It's so versatile, and the ability to be so impactful is why is what makes music a great addition to movies. The first time we hear the song in the movie is in the past when Dean makes a mixtape for Sydney while playing it in a room. The scene is bathed in nice and soft happy yellow. The song itself is an old school vintage jam that paints a hopeful look at love and finding your significant other, with lyrics such as, "When love is real, you don't have to show it. When it is true, then everyone know it, cause there'd be no one else but you and me." We can all relate to being with that someone and attaching a song to them. We look back fondly on those memories. The sky's the limit. This is the honeymoon. This is the honeymoon period brought to life. Everything is going well, even if some few things aren't. The second time we hear the song is in the present. During a little getaway Dean has taken Sydney to in order to rekindle the flame that has gone away. Unlike the last scene, this one is filtered in warm and dreary blue. It's actually a nice and cute scene that gives some semblance of hope for the future. But after watching the movie and thinking about it in hindsight, it feels like just a glimpse of who they were instead of a peek into what's to come. I love the dichotomy of this scene, and it's a great microcosm of the whole movie itself. I can't help but want to see the relationship be mended. I'm cheering for them, you know. I want this scene to be another moment that both Sydney and Dean will look back fondly and speak about how they got over this hump. But in reality, I can't help but notice that this is Dean's and his last push to mend his relationship. He was holding on to the past in some sort of way while playing this song to remind Sydney that she is his one and only. This is something we can all relate to. A song can remind you of all the good memories and the good times of the relationship, but while doing so blocks you out of all the bad that comes with it and blinds you of the reality that your partner might not be the one for you. And a song is just that, a song. There's many great things this movie accomplishes with the simplest techniques, and maybe one day I'll go over them. But today's lesson is how a great choice of a song can be so beneficial to successfully landing its themes, characters, and structure of a movie. Music in movies could be so beneficial, as we just saw one of my favorite examples right there in Blue Valentine. And well, that's today's video. Better Days production.